Oh, hey. Aha! Science. Hey there, I am excited for this episode. This not every day that science looks into the realm of beauty, and today it has, and we're talking about it. So, what we're going to be talking about today is the ideal eyelash to eye width ratio. I mean, I've heard it, I'm sure you've heard it too, that people say that the longer your eyelashes are, you think these dark, beautiful, curled, long eyelashes, the more beautiful that person is. And the results of this study may just surprise you, and they've also found a value, a number, your ideal eyelash to eye width ratio. And so using this, you can get your maximum attractiveness on based on science, evolutionary fitness indicators, your perceived beauty. And so in this episode, I am going to help you unleash your inner beauty with science. And now I do want to say that this isn't a magical formula by any means. There's a lot of variables, a lot of factors. Honestly, to pinpoint any the one thing on beauty is a little bit silly and naive, and honestly can be hurtful. I want to support and recommend, be proud of yourself, be proud of your body. How your body made you is the way you want to be. Find your own beauty, not anything. Don't let a scientific value dictate how you feel about yourself. And because there's pitfalls in the study, there's lots of variables, and we're gonna talk about that. But I do want to share what the ideal value is, because it's fun to talk about. And if it works for you and makes you feel more beautiful, that's great. And if it doesn't work for you, you're still beautiful. You're still great. So it's a win-win. Everyone's beautiful. Everyone's beautiful. That's all I can say about that. So let's talk a little bit about the thinking let's talk about a little bit about the thinking of the study. The basic premise in this evolutionary psychology, biology idea is that factors that indicate reproductive success, things that will make you stronger, more likely to have children that can live on and carry your genes to the next generation, will be perceived as more beautiful. So in men, these muscular bodies, you can defend for your home, your family, you can be a protector, a provider, and women, with, wider hips, being able to bear children. These things of scientists argue about, of course, but many believe are these evolutionary flags, these factors that say, hey, you have high reproductive success here, so it's perceived as beauty. So the same thing with eyelashes. Your eyelashes can help protect your eyes in various ways, in a lot of different ways, and we'll talk about a little bit about that. But that length of that eyelash can be an evolutionary flag, indicating some sort of fitness indicator about that person. But again, there's a lot of variables here, and there's some pitfalls. And so again, we're gonna be talking about that. But that's the reason behind this, is that your eyelashes help protect your eyes, and there's an ideal ratio between your eyelash length and your eye width length that promotes most protection and thus most evolutionary beauty. And so some researchers wanted to test that. So this research is titled "The Effect of Eyelash Length on Attractiveness, a Previously Uninvestigated Indicator of Beauty," and it was published in this year, 2020, in the journal Evolutionary Evolutionary Behavioral Sciences Journal. And so what these researchers did was they got 81 students in their Department of Psychology, and they got 11 photos of either men or 11 photos of women, a man's face and a woman's face. And in these 11 photos, the only thing they changed was the length of the eyelashes. And so everything was the same. So here's some Here's some images of some of the figures that they used to get an example. So they have a man's face and a woman's face, and the only thing they did was change the length of the eyelashes in these 11 photos. And then they gave these photos to these students and had them rank them in order of most attractive to least attractive. And then they're able to plot out what that ideal eyelash to eye width ratio is for maximum attractiveness according to these 81 Department of Psychology students. You know, it's a good thing they didn't use my picture in these studies, or else they would have an impossible time labeling any of them as least attractive. You know what I mean? Oh, shoot, I got something on my face. Maybe not, never mind. Thought I was attractive. Now, the hypothesis was that the ideal eyelash to eye width ratio would be 0.35. And the researchers got that because in a prior study published in 2015, different researchers found the ideal optimal eyelash eye width ratio to determine peak physical fitness and healthy protection of eyes from wind and dust and debris. So basically what they did was they got a wind tunnel and they blasted these model eyes with wind and did all these numerical calculations and models to figure out the ideal eyelash length. Fascinating study. We'll talk about that at the end. But I want to get to the juicy beauty results. So let's go. Let's look at that. So let's look at the results. So here are the results for the women faces. They're right there. So on the x-axis, we have the eyelash to eye width ratio. And on the y-axis, we have the attractiveness ranking. And so you can see on these bars, and there's letters above the bars. If a bar has the same letter, then they are in the same statistically significant group. And so we can see that for women. According to these 81 psychology students, the most attractive eyelash to eye width ratio is between 0.20 to 0.36. So 0.35, you know, that ideal ratio according to the science, of eyeballs and wind tunnels is in there. So again, 0.20 to 0.36 for women. Now let's look at the men. Boing. So for the men, we have the same x and y axis, but you can see that for men, the results are skewed to not as long eyelashes, a smaller eyelash length to eye width ratio, with the ideal values being at 0.16 to 0.20. So, I'm a man. I have eyes. I have eyelashes. I wonder what my eyelash to eye width ratio is, how attractive I am according to the science. So let's measure it. So here we are. Let's measure my eye width and my eyelash length. Let me get my tape measure. So you see, really simple. You just place it here on your eye. Measure across. I'm getting about 1.25 for my eye width. Now I gotta get my eyelash length. A little trickier, but 0.25 centimeters. So my eyelash width is, my eye width is 1.25 centimeters. My eyelash length is 0.25 centimeters. So to get that ratio, all we got to do is go 0.25 over 1.25, length over width, and we get a ratio of 0.20. Now, let's see how that stacks up to the graph. See, I happen to fall, coincidentally, just right there on the 0.2. How do you like that? Explains a lot, doesn't it? And to prove my point, to prove that you are beautiful, regardless of where you fall on that graph, I did my own experiment. I took a picture of my own face, similar to those reference models, and then what I did was I adjusted my eyelashes and my eye width in order to meet that maximum ideal ratio of 0.35 according to the evolutionary understanding of eyelashes. And just a warning, there is some nightmare fuel coming when I show you these images of my adjusted eyes. And so let's start out tame. And so if I were to lengthen my eyelashes in order to get that ratio, this is what I would look like. Again, I like my original me a little bit better. And now what I also want to do, because ratios work both ways, you can change the ratio by lengthening your eyelashes, or you can change the ratio by decreasing your eye width. Thus, if you decrease your eye width, your eyelashes should look longer, right? So I went on Photoshop and I decreased my eye width, keeping my same eyelashes, and something horrible happened. So this is the ideal eye width to eyelash ratio. All I did was change my eye width. And here it is. That is nightmare fuel. That is horrifying. And so, again, even though I don't have that ideal ratio, when I tried to get it, that happened. And so I'm happy with me just the way I am. And I hope that you are happy with you just the way you are. Now, I wanted to go a little deeper into the science of why these ratios exist, the evolutionary optimal reason for that, but we're not going to have time in this video. I thought we would, so I'm going to have to make another video and do that in the future. But I do want to talk a little bit more about some of that data, because we saw that both in the female and in the male attractiveness bar graphs that there was some skewing going on. For the women, the data was skewed towards longer eyelashes, and for the men, it was skewed towards shorter eyelashes, even though both of the ideal lengths ratios were the same for both the males and the females, both right around 0.2 to 0.35, right in that range. It was the same for both the males and females. And the reason that the females are skewed towards longer and the males skewed towards shorter, the researchers believe is probably due to cultural bias, due to differences in beauty standards among cultures. Remember, this was just one, the sample set here was just one, it was set of psychology students, 81 students. And so if you were to go to a lot of different cultures, a lot of different people who had a lot of different ideas of what beauty is, you might see that bias eliminated or reversed or something completely different. And again, it just goes to show that beauty, there's so many variables, there's so many differences, it changes on who you talk to, that there's just a lot going on. And so be proud of who you are. And even when we go next time into that evolutionary ideas of what, and you'll even see when we talk about the evolutionary optimization of eyelashes, you will see that there's still even a lot of variables there. Eyelashes help protect the eyes, but there's also effects due to eye movement, the eyes tear, how much water is in there. A lot of different factors affect how your eyes are protected, not just eyelashes. Eyelashes are just one piece of the body, and it's a bigger picture. However, it is fun to see what science has declared as the ideal eyelash ratio. And so I hope you take a minute. It's kind of fun. It's a fun little experiment. Figure out what you are. And it'd be kind of fun. So why don't you go measure your eyelashes, measure your eye widths, and then, feel free to share the data. And maybe we'll make our own subset, and we'll see how these ranges, how these ratios are for different people all over the world. It'll be kind of fun. So anyway, we got to wrap it up here. Thanks for listening. Well, next time we'll talk more about the evolutionary history of eyelashes and what they do. And till then, ciao.